Hello and welcome to the newsroom. Breaking this hour. US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a highly anticipated meeting at the White House, which the officials described as tense and frank discussions over the future of the war in Ukraine. Now, Ukrainian President Zelensky traveled to Washington seeking long-range Tomahawk missiles to strengthen Ukraine's defense capabilities against Russia. Commenting on the meeting, Zelensky has said that he remains realistic about Ukraine's chances of obtaining the weapons. Furthermore, Ukrainian officials believe that using Tomahawks to target Russian oil and energy infrastructure could significantly damage Moscow's war economy. However, US President Donald Trump has made it clear that for now, the United States has no plans to provide those weapons. He has further added that the US needed to retain such systems for its own defense and has warned that supplying them could escalate the Russian war. The meeting, which lasted for several hours, came a day after Trump spoke by phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two leaders, Trump and Putin, have agreed to hold an in-person meeting in Hungary in the upcoming weeks. Additionally, Ukraine's former Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has remarked that a future meeting between President Trump and President Putin is unlikely to result in a breakthrough or a deal into the end of the war. Let's in fact listen in.
The goal is clear. Trump wanted to demonstrate that he speaks equally to both sides, to Ukraine and Russia. And he achieved that. So he set the stage for his summit with President Putin in Budapest. The problem is that Trump and Putin can talk as many times as they want, but bringing Putin to the table does not mean making Putin negotiate. And I wonder whether President Trump already realized that. So as long as Putin believes that he can win this war on the battlefield, he's going to escape and avoid any agreements and arrangements. And we will see more words about his commitments and more promises that coming from Trump that Putin is willing to make a deal, but no deal will be happening.
Meanwhile, Ukrainians are expressing doubts about a diplomatic resolution to the ongoing war, following the meeting between United States President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump in Washington. Despite Zelensky's push for more weapons to fight Russia, Trump emphasized the need for an immediate ceasefire, even if it requires territorial concessions from Ukraine. Let's in fact listen in to what the Ukrainians have to say.
Даже якщо зупинимося ми на тих кордонах, що зараз є, Росія просто-напросто накопичить свої сили за той час, що буде перемир'я, як припинення війни, а потім ще з більшою силою нападе.
На превеликий жаль, в світі панує сила. І тому я вважаю, що в будь-якому випадку війна закінчиться. І закінчиться перемогою, звичайно, українців. І це, звичайно, буде досягнуто шляхом сили, на жаль. Тому що така людина, як фашистський диктатор Путін, він, як би не було прикро це отямлювати, він може тільки зрозуміти силу. Тому дипломатичний шлях – так, розмова – так, але сила, я думаю, що...
Світ перевернувся, зовсім все по-іншому. Бачите, кажуть одне, роблять друге. А ми, народ України, страждає під обстрілами. От. Немає то світла, немає води. Ну, така ситуація. Війна.
3 people have been killed and 5 others injured in an explosion at the Avangard explosive plant in Settlement in Russia's Bashkortostan region. The blast occurred yesterday evening at a facility and is said to be producing weapons and industrial explosives, including materials used in the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, emergency services have completed their search and rescue operations throughout the night, while forensic experts have been employed to investigate the cause. Talking on the matter, the regional governor has stressed that the incident was not caused by drone attacks and confirmed that the plant has been under state control through the Russian conglomerate Rostec since 2022. Let's listen in.
Это предприятие с особыми условиями труда. Все-таки мы имеем дело с взрывчатыми веществами. На данный момент одно из зданий разрушено. К сожалению, констатируем, что 3 человека погибли, все женщины. Значит, что касается предприятия, на данный момент идут следственные действия. Точно хочу сказать, что тут разные суждения были, что бесплотно, так нет, произошел взрыв.
Meanwhile, repair work has started on damaged off-site power lines to Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant following a 4-week outage. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi has said that the work began after local ceasefire zones were established to allow for the repairs to proceed. The plant, one of the largest nuclear power plants in Europe, currently produces no electricity but needs power to ensure fuel in the reactions remains cool and no meltdown occurs. The US President Donald Trump's administration officials are discussing a possible meeting between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during Trump's upcoming Asia tour. However, no logistical arrangements or direct communications with Pyongyang have been made so far. An earlier outreach was reportedly rejected by North Korea. In August, Trump said he was open to meeting Kim after hosting South Korean President Lee Jae-myung at the White House. Millions have taken to the streets today across the United States of America for the much-anticipated No Kings demonstration against President Donald Trump. Moreover, protesters have taken to the streets in the thousands across Europe, particularly in the capital cities of London, Madrid, Rome and Paris, in solidarity with the American protesters. More than 2,600 No Kings protesters are currently taking place across all the states targeting President Donald Trump's policies on immigration, education, and security. Organizers say that the marches are a response to concerns that the US is heading towards autocracy. Let's listen in to what some of the protesters have to say.
Today, because to protest against the fascist regime that's going on in the White House.
Essentially, Donald Trump has been overreaching his powers as an executive, and we're all here to protest that and to basically say that he should not be able to conduct these overreaches of his power, invading cities, and basically showing the public is not willing to put up with that. Yeah.
We feel it's important to speak out when we see things that not only that we don't agree with, but things that are really detrimental to society. And that's what this is. The Trump administration, the MAGA movement, and it's not just in the United States, but it's globally. It's around the world. It affects everybody.
As an immigrant here in Germany, it's really important to me that America was founded on immigrants, by immigrants, and the fact that they are trying to shut that out and rewrite history is a really big deal. And it feels like we're shouting into a void, or being here in Germany, especially considering the history that's here, we have a unique perspective to look and say, that's not okay. Normalizing the little things, letting it go down the slope is very much not okay. And we feel like this is one thing that we can do. We can't show up there, but we can show up here.
Now shifting our focus to Middle East, search crews in Khan Yunis are using heavy equipment to locate remains believed to be of Israeli hostages killed in Hamas October 7 attack. Under the US brokered deal, Hamas has released 20 living hostages and 28 deceased in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. So far, Hamas has handed over 10 bodies out of the 28. Hamas is reportedly facing technical challenges requiring heavy machinery to recover remains of hostages buried under the rubble. Israel warns Hamas is running out of time, but the group insists it remains committed to the ceasefire and returning all remains of the hostage bodies. Gazans mourn loved ones as civil defense accuses Israel of targeting family. Palestinians mourn relatives at Gaza City's Al-Ali hospital after Israeli forces killed 9 members of a single family when they fired on a bus yesterday. The incident occurred after the Israeli military targeted a vehicle that crossed that so-called yellow line, which is boundary established under ceasefire with Hamas. Meanwhile, Gaza's Civil Defense Agency, operating under Hamas authority, has recovered the bodies and reported that the bus was carrying displaced persons east of the Zaytun neighborhood. In response, the Israeli military has said that they initially fired warning shots at the vehicle, but then opened fire when it continued approaching, viewing it as an imminent threat. Now, local residents in Gaza have condemned the attack, expressing grief and anger over the loss of civilian lives. Listen in.
طبعا الاحتلال استهدف مركبة من نوع بيجو تندر في منطقة الزيتون، دخلت من أجل أن تتفقد المنزل الخاص بها، وفجأة أطلقت قوات الاحتلال الإسرائيلي قذيفتين من دبابة على المركبة. طبعا تحركت الطواقم صبيحة هذا اليوم بعد تنسيق مع منظمة الأوتشا لندخل إلى المنطقة لنتفاجأ بالكارثة الموجودة هناك. تم استهداف المركبة بشكل مباشر، نجا 1 من المركبة، هناك 4 من الأطفال شهداء، هناك 3 من النساء، هناك أيضا كبار سن كانوا متواجدين. انتشلنا 9 من الأشخاص، هناك أيضا طفلين صغيرين كانوا في المركبة، لكن على ما يبدو أنهم قد انتهشتهم الكلاب الضال.
بنتي وهي وولادها وجوزها، وابني هي هو وولاده ومرته. ايش عملنا احنا صغار 2 و3 سنين و4 سنين و7 سنين و12 سنة، ايش عملوا له؟ ايش سووا له؟ وين الهدنة هذا؟ وين الهدنة بجهودنا؟
واحنا عندنا من الساعة 6 تقريبا 4 العصر طالعين، وهنا وصلنا على 6 الصبح. الطريق زحمة، فيش تعرفش تخش حمام، بهدلة. الصغار معانا عيانين، معنا طفل صغير عنده مات يعني 45 يوم عمره، والوضع صعب مأساوي. احنا الحين الوضع صعب، بنناشد الأم كلها تحلها القضية. احنا رايحين ننام في الشارع على البحر، هينا حكيين يا عمي مش عارف.
US Vice President JD Vance is set to visit Israel on 20th October to discuss the progress on the deal aimed at returning slain hostages and ending the hostilities in Gaza. According to reports, the visit comes as Washington pushes to advance President Donald Trump's peace plan. Vance is expected to hold high-level talks on the second phase of the plan, which focuses on disarming Hamas and establishing an alternative authority to govern Gaza. The move marks a crucial step in the administration efforts to secure long-term stability in the region. A major fire has broken out at the cargo terminal of Dhaka's Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport. Flights are delayed or diverted, affecting both domestic and international operations, while the cause of the fire remains unknown. 36 firefighting units along with the Army, Navy and Air Force are working to control the blaze. Meanwhile, airport officials confirm all aircrafts are reputedly safe. The airport operations have also been suspended as authorities battle the flames. A Cameroon flag liquefied natural gas tanker issued a distress signal after an explosion on board while off the coast of Yemen. The incident occurred in the Gulf of Aden, about 60 nautical miles south of Awar on the southern coast of Yemen. According to the British Royal Navy-run AMTO agency, a fire started aboard the vessel after it was hit by an unknown projectile. British maritime security firm Ambrey has said that the crew had signaled their intention to abandon ship and that a search and rescue operation is now underway. Afghan and Pakistani delegations have arrived in Doha seeking to defuse the deadliest border crisis between the two countries in years. More than a week of fighting has killed dozens and injured hundreds on both sides, with tensions escalating following Pakistan's airstrikes in Afghan territory that killed at least 10 people and broke a ceasefire. Now, Pakistan's army chief Asim Munir has accused Afghanistan of providing sanctuaries for the Pakistani Taliban, urging the Taliban regime to control proxies operating from Afghan soil and end attacks inside Pakistan. Listen in.
Equally disconcerting is the use of Afghan soil for terrorism in Pakistan. We urge the people of Afghanistan to choose mutual security over perpetual violence and progress over hardline obscurantism. Taliban regime must rein in the proxies who have sanctuaries in Afghanistan and are using Afghan soil to perpetrate heinous attacks inside Pakistan.
Now, in response to this, Afghan Deputy Interior Minister Mullah Mohammad Nabi Umari has rejected these accusations, stating that the TTP is no longer present in Afghanistan and that they were not supported or hosted by the current Taliban government. Listen in.
داعي أسلام غني جواب تبي لدرجة موجودة. يا دي زينا هم مسؤولين جمو هم مجاهدين جمو بفتح المستا طول قبل يرسم مدرب شبيه يا غانش.
Now, breaking news coming in from Brazil. A bus crash in Brazil's Pernambuco state on Friday has killed at least 15 people after the driver lost control. The vehicle veered into the opposite lane, struck rocks, hit a sand embankment and overturned. 30 passengers were reportedly on board, with 11 women and 4 men are confirmed dead. The driver suffers minor injuries and tests negative for alcohol. Authorities are investigating the causes. The total number of injured are yet to be released. Taiwan's main opposition party, the Kuomintang, elected former lawmaker Cheng Li-wun as its leader, pledging to ensure peace with China amid rising tensions. Cheng, who won't take over immediately, won the leadership election at a time when Beijing views the democratically governed island as part of its territory, heightening military and political strains, although the KMT lost the presidential race last year. The party, along with its ally, the Taiwan's People Party, holds the most seats in parliament, creating challenges for the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. Let's listen in to what Cheng had to say.
我们一定坚持3大原则。第一，我们绝对不能够让台湾成为麻烦制造者。第二，我们也绝对不让台湾沦为地缘政治的牺牲品。第三，中国国民党会担起责任，积极地为区域和平做一个和平的缔造者。这是我们对国际社会最庄严的承诺。 这也是我们最重要的3大原则。大家面对2300万人，应该共同的拿出善意跟诚意。两岸的和平不只是两岸人民最高的期待跟福祉，也是区域甚至于是人类和平最重要的一个任务跟工作。台海绝对不可以发生冲突跟军事冲突，所以。 请不要这么轻易、不负责任的、廉价的拿红色标签作为政治斗争的工具。
Now shifting our focus to France, the cancellation of a techno parade in Paris has sparked a protest with thousands taken to the streets of the French capital against the organizers of the parade. The LA Techno Parade, an annual event in Paris, was called off by organizers some 3 months ago, and protesters have taken to the streets in outrage over the cancellation of the event. For a second year in a row, the parade was called off by organizers citing a lack of funds. Protesters cited their unhappiness with this situation, saying that they deserve to party like everyone else, as they gathered on the place La Bastille in the suburbs of Paris. With that, it's a wrap on the newsroom. Keep watching for more breaking updates.
Thank you.